Since Democrats seem to struggle answering this question, I wanted to ask you, what is a woman and why is it important that we understand the difference between men and women?
Well, it's sort of easy to answer for me because a woman is somebody that can have a baby under certain circumstances. She has a quality. A woman is a person who's much smarter than a man, I've always found.
Yes, that's the correct answer, the biological answer, the scientific answer, the cultural answer, correct answer. We have a Democrat for you today who doesn't understand this whole gender biology thing. A lot of Democrats have there's one on the Supreme Court, a woman who doesn't know what a woman is. I don't think she's qualified to sit on the Supreme Court. Call me a biologist, but a very good Monday to you and welcome back. It is a mad world thanks to the Democratic Party. And when I say thanks to, I mean blame them, not that we should actually thank them for it. We have elections coming up this week. They elect their Supreme Court justices in the dairy state, the cheese state, where Elon Musk was over the weekend, and the Democrats are very upset. Hey, you can't have a billionaire who used to be our billionaire coming in and being your billionaire and giving money to people because that's our job. And you see that Governor Scott Walker this morning saying, well, more than 70% of the money for the Democrat running for the only open Supreme Court seat out of 7 in the state of Wisconsin, more than 70% of the money raised, lots of millions of dollars, because the Democrats really like the courts, you know. They just like to drag everything into court with all their crooked schmivy league, their smarmy lawyers, and go in and try to steal everything downrange and steal. They'll have stealing. But that's going on in this week, tomorrow, in Wisconsin. Elon Musk was there. He really upset the Democrats. They probably burned some Teslas or firebombed something, which they're fond of doing. They had their day of rage, their anti-Elon Musk, anti-Tesla day of rage, and all across the country. And CNN is very excited about it. They're the publicity agents for the insane firebombing Democrat Party. See, they're out in front of Tesla dealerships with Ukrainian flags because they're mental. And I did see one mental case in front of a Tesla dealership. You had a homemade sign on a big cardboard placard, and he just wrote, "I hate Elon Musk. I hate Elon Musk." And they got signs that say things like, "Nazi cars sold here. Nazi cars sold here." Nazi cars are, of course, Volkswagens and Mercedes and BMWs, but not Teslas, because that's a brand new thing. And you guys, I love that they go around calling everybody Nazis, and then they firebomb everything they're angry with because every knocked is crystal knocked, while they're chasing all the Jews off of campuses across America and calling for the state of Israel to be wiped out. Kind of ironic to call anybody a Nazi at that point, as I've been saying for a long time now. Long time. They have no sense of irony, these people. Boy, do they have no sense of irony. So we've got, and also we have two elections for open House seats in the state of Florida. The Democrats are hoping to somehow they're frantically, smoking crack and grabbing billionaire money from overseas to try to get these 2 seats because they want to make that. Speaking of fascists, Hakeem Jeffries, he hates the Jews. He was raised by a famous Jew hater, his uncle, Professor Leonard Jeffries. But Hakeem Jeffries is out there. Was he denying the existence of genders, Michael? No, he wasn't. But he said some crazy stuff over the weekend, right? Because he's wackadoodle-doo. Yeah, about the Wisconsin election, the Supreme Court. And we've got to go and we've got to take the Supreme Court in Wisconsin, Hakeem, the fascist Jeffries says, because the state is gerrymandered. You guys have been in charge of the state of the Supreme Court for years now. So if it's gerrymandered because you gerrymandered it. And now you got to steal the Supreme Court to make sure that you can gerrymander it again, because it's all about control of the House of Representatives. We have to burn Wisconsin to the ground for 2 more House seats. And honestly, they'll eat the organs of your children for 1 more seat in the House. Amazing stuff. The Democrats, in the meantime, they're online calling for illegal aliens and their fellow travelers to shoot ICE agents, to shoot and presumably kill, because why else would you shoot somebody? Just shoot to wound. So the left is calling on their violent criminal minions to shoot ICE agents. And we've got cabinet secretaries having to step up now and say, there is no shooting ICE agents. But the Democrats, they're firebombing, they're shooting. I think they're a violent death cult. And they harvest the organs of about 1 million unborn babies every year because they're and then they call everybody Nazis. And they hate the Jews. It's the Democrat Party should be wearing armbands. How many times do I have to say it? Let's get them armbands. What would the Democrat armbands look like? Kind of crazy. So we've got all kinds of great stuff for you today because there's been a weekend, And one of the headlines, we just played the soundbite for you. Headline at the radical left-wing Mediaite, and they're extremists, they're fascists. They said, Trump takes a crack at explaining what a woman is. Let's ask Ketanji Brown Jackson again, shall we? Because she's a woman. I know she is, but she doesn't know she is. Trump tells NBC that, and this is a lot of hooey, too. This is a fake NBC fake news headline. Trump tells NBC fake news, quote, there are methods, end quote, for seeking a third term. Extremely selective bourgeois editing by these radicals who would burn your Tesla. Also, at one of the anti-Tesla protests, there's funny, I was reading one of the articles this morning and laughing at these idiots. One of the idiots showed up in a Tesla going to because they're burning the high-speed Tesla charging stations. They like the slow-speed Tesla charging stations better. They want everything to be slow, like their brains, like their wit. And remarkable stuff. This guy showed up to participate in the anti-Tesla protest with his Tesla, and he explained, when I bought it a few years ago, I think just 2018, I bought it to save the planet. That's what he said. Now, wherever I go, people are spitting at me, spitting on my car, calling me all kinds of terrible names, throwing things at my car. And I'm like, dude, this is how you vote. This is what you want. This is you. Your party is going to first annex the Sudeten and then, I think, invade Poland pretty soon, you guys, once you get into uniform and everything. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. See, I like that one because it was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, right, who explained that it's physically impossible to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. She is, to say a little slow would be hurtful to people that are a little slow. Yeah, but what I hear President Trump on Air Force One when a fake reporter tries to ambush him with, are you going to stay for a third term? Because somebody on the internet said you were. And that's where we get our information because we all have tiny little squirrel brains. And President Trump gave an answer that was great. And then they took what he said and edited what he said and misrepresented what he said. And it doesn't matter because, also President Trump, another one, and he plays them and he has fun doing it. And they don't have fun. They go crazy. They want to self-immolate at the end of pretty much every day. But Iran's Khamenei, the Ayatollah, Khamenei, I like to say Khamenei to get a full accent thing going. Iran's Khamenei says U.S. will receive blow if they act on Trump's threats. I'm not sure if there are Trump threats. He said he wants to sit at the table with Iran and negotiate this whole nuclear weapons thing because we've discovered that radical Islamic jihadi death cultists are not safe when you give them weapons like airliners full of civilians and things like that. Now, those weren't Iranians, but they were radical Islamic jihadis, just like the Ayatollah. So, President Trump with a comment on Iran and their nuclear program, and they should talk, he suggests, and And then the Democrats said, he's going to bomb Iran. Bomb Iran. All that stuff. So I got that for you today. And I'll play what Trump actually said, not what the media says, because they're filthies and they lie when they tell you what their name is and what day it is. They lie to you. President Trump plans to visit Saudi Arabia, the kingdom, Al Jazeera, in May for his first foreign trip as president in his second term. And why would he do that? Well, because he wants to meet with the Russians and maybe the Russians and the Ukrainians and try to bring peace where there is currently war. You may recall the Biden administration just sent bombs because they like people to get killed because they're the left. And nobody kills like the left kills. Not even the jihad kills like the left kills. Speaking of the left, you may remember Ruth Marcus. She used to pretend to be a news reporter at the Washington Post, and then she left because the owner of the paper, one of their sent to billionaires, they're angry with billionaires, and unless, they're left-wing billionaires who own the Washington Post and they work for him and stuff. And he said, what did he say that outraged them? And he wanted the emphasis in the editorial page to be on liberty and free market capitalism. I think that was, and so she had to quit. She's like, what? I resign. Liberty, capitalism. I'm out of here. I'm not a, anti-life communist, but I couldn't stand the idea. Liberty and free market capitalism, and she had to leave. She was on the television over the weekend because it's a great big circle fest in a hot tub, this left-wing, blood-drenched firebombing murder fest. We need more self-immolations, don't you think? I thought, how many have the... Maybe, come on, you guys. Show us that you really mean it. That's good. Ruth Marcus said, we're not going to be able to put this broken system back together once Trump is gone. It's a very scary moment. You should probably find a bridge or a lake or something because you're amazing. And I got to tell you, that's all over the place. There are articles like the pragmatic and moral case to sell your Tesla. It's pragmatic and it's moral because the left-wingers and the pragmatic part is that Democrats are going to kill you in it and set it on fire, and you're going to be burned to a crisp and be a crispy critter because the left is here. CNN very excited. Over 200 Tesla takedown. They put that in quotation mark, Tesla takedown. Protests take place throughout the U.S. on, quote, Global Day of Action. They changed it from Global Day of Rage. Usually it's a Global Day of Rage because they've got a lot of sexual issues. Yeah, and the Tesla Takedown Day draws hundreds in Hadley, one town in Massachusetts, Gesundheit. And I made a note on this one, spit, because this is where the guy explains everywhere he goes, Democrats are spitting on him and spitting on his car and throwing things at his car because they're Nazis. They love to call everybody. And they're calling, if you own a Tesla, you're a Nazi. They're pretty amazing stuff, I got to say. Yeah, we've got the Wisconsin Supreme Court. We've got two elections. That's tomorrow, an election. The Democrats need to steal it because they need to gerrymander the state and steal some House seats and get more power. And Hakeem Jeffries, who hates the Jews, would become Speaker of the House. And the Democrats would all applaud and then firebomb something because it's what they do. Oh, yeah, also, by the way, the Signal app that the Democrats are still trying to turn into, they put a gate on it. It's Signal Gate because they want to turn everything into Watergate. You guys should stop shooting people. How about that? That'd be helpful. Stop firebombing stuff. Put down the Molotov cocktail and put your hands up and step back, you guys. But it turns out the Signal app, we have the documents now of the Biden administration telling everybody in their administration to use the Signal app because it's so safe. Isn't that great? You're a Democrat party. Special elections in Florida. Great stuff. And the media very upset. MAGA, that's American people. MAGA goes after Jasmine Crockett, racist, mental case, lunatic, Democrats love her. They all want to sleep with her. By dredging up clip of her calling Representative Byron Donalds whitewashed because he married a white woman. That's because she's a racist. And you guys, the party of slavery and the bullwhip need to be called out. Also, speaking of which, fake Senator Raphael Warnock, he was actually elected, though, unlike Stacey Abrams. Raphael Warnock lives in a free $1 million home because he's a Democrat senator from Georgia. And, it's, the church lets me live here. It's $1 million home. So they've got, put your money in the basket on Sunday because you're paying for Raphael Warnock's $1 million home to live in for free, and that's fine. It might actually be owned by the Chinese or the Houthis, as far as we know. Also, speaking of torching stuff, Democrats torched the New Mexico Republican Party headquarters over the weekend, and they graffitied the place. They set it on fire and they graffitied because they're, that's your Democrat Party. We're at, got a lot of them coming up. We're at 888-630-9625. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. Oh, yeah, I've got an update on the White House Correspondents' Dinner this year. I know you've all been waiting because y'all have your tickets in hand, having mailed away from them. They got this left-wing hack, LGBTWOC, as a comedian, and now the LGBTQMOC, who is the president of the White House Correspondents Association, has dropped her. I'm assuming it's a her because, with Democrats. Yeah, but big deal at the White House Correspondents Association dinner dropping their comedian. Amber Ruffin, a frothy, Trump-hating, radical, political, and all that would even be fine if she were funny, which she's not. I actually watched a bunch of her videos on the Jumbotron on YouTube yesterday, and I'm still looking for it. She giggles a lot like a schoolgirl. She thinks she's funny, but she didn't say anything funny. All right, let's grab a phone call, Michael. Let's go to Mike calling from Gainesville, Virginia. Michael, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris Plant. Good to talk to you.
Welcome.
We keep laughing about Ketanji Brown Jackson lying under oath to Marsha Blackburn about not being able to define what a woman was. Marsha should have said, I'm going to give you a chance to avoid a perjury charge here. You really need to tell me if I need to provide you the definition, it's simply 4 words. It's an adult, human, biological female. If you'll agree to that, I won't charge you with perjury. But if you keep saying you can't define it, I'm going to have to refer you to the Justice Department because you're perjuring yourself right here before me trying to become a Supreme Court justice.
She was ingratiating herself to the Democratic Party, of course, right?
Clearly, but that was lying under oath, and we shouldn't take it lightly.
They lie under oath all the time. I've been playing for years. Is it James Clapper lying under oath about spying on all of us? And they lie under oath. Democrats lie under oath in Washington quite regularly, actually, without consequence. All right, so, the Democrat Party is a violent political organization, as we know, has been since the Civil War, at least, and they're the party of, all your terrorist organizations in American history. They're the bad guys. They really are. But they're on the side of Hamas. They're on the side of Tren de Aragua, the gang out of Venezuela. They're on the side of MS-13, the gang out of El Salvador, which they would love to tell you, it was founded in Los Angeles, California. Yeah, by Salvadorans that you guys waved into the country illegally because you're not on our side at all. But let me go to, because it's... They're violent, crazy people. I love this one, actually. A radio talk show host in Wisconsin posted a photo of a car crashed in his front yard. And it turns out that, actually, I apologize. A listener sent it to him. But there's a car crashed in the listeners. He's a radio host in Wisconsin, Dan O'Donnell, and he's on the side of the Angels. And a listener sent him a picture of a car looks like a Toyota, crashed into the drainage ditch in his front yard, and said, "This morning someone ran over my Brad Schimmel for Wisconsin Supreme Court sign in Brookfield, Wisconsin, and is now stuck in my ditch." Stuck in my ditch. And here's the car went into the ditch, but you can see the sign, the wire frame of the sign is in ruins there because a Democrat violently, lost what's left of his mind or her mind possibly, and saw a Brad Schimmel for Wisconsin Supreme Court sign in Brookfield, Wisconsin, where nice people used to live, but then Democrats came and crashed his car through it. And such a moron, so obsessed, like a crazed person, crashed into the drainage ditch and had to get a tow truck to get out of there because what a maroon, I got to say. Amazing stuff. But before I get back to that, there's a lot of crazy. And I want to get to, first of all, Kristi Noem, our Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. She posted a video over the weekend, and she sat there in front of a camera with a stack of printouts from a printer on pieces of paper, printer paper. And the stack of paper that she had, each one was a mugshot of an illegal alien criminal that has been captured and deported from the United States. And keep in mind that every Democrat wants every one of these criminals to be in your teenage daughter's shower room at her junior high school and hiding under her bed. Remember, there was that story about the babysitter that found Juan Diego Garcia Martinez hiding under the little girl's bed in their house, and the babysitter had to chase the guy away. And our news media didn't bother to say, well, was he an illegal alien? But listen to this. Listen to this. This is Kristi Noem, Cabinet Secretary, Department of Homeland Security, with a stack of printouts of illegal aliens captured and deported from the United States in order to reduce the number of crimes and murders and the amount of mayhem. Here's Kristi Noem.
It is unbelievable the people that we were able to deport because President Trump is in the White House now. This guy, convicted of arson, is now out of our country. This guy...
Convicted of arson.
...is convicted of child molestation. Has been convicted of that bail jumping.
He looks like the first guy.
Distribution of a substance. And this one, listen to this.
Substance.
Deported now. He's been convicted of obscene internet contact with a child using a computer to seduce, to lure, or to entice a child, and sentenced to just 10 years in probation, but now facing consequences. Thank you, President Trump, for what you're doing to help our country and let Americans have safety again in their communities.
Democrats gave him probation because he's like Anthony Weiner. He did the same thing on the internet that Anthony Weiner did from Weinerville in New York with his loving ex-wife, Humma Weiner. And where's Humma Weiner now? Who's Humma Weiner hanging out with? Alex Soros of the Soros family. Humma Weiner and Alex Soros. Aren't they amazing? So she posted that video. That's one video that you could watch today. But there is another video of, I'm going to assume this guy's an illegal alien. He's got to be an illegal alien. And he posted a video that is kind of fascinating. He is calling on anybody, illegal alien or Democrat, to shoot ICE agents because the Democrats want to defund the police and they want open borders. And now this guy posted on Al Gore's Amazing Internet, peace be upon him, urging people to shoot and kill ICE agents on the internet. This is what we have attack helicopters for, isn't it? I'd find this guy and maybe send in a cruise missile or something because this guy shouldn't be wandering free. A TikTok user, don't even know his name yet, who goes by Bilal Dunk. Bilal Dunk. B-E-L-A-L. And then underscore D-O-N-Q. Donk. I don't know, it's his first pet and the name of the street he lived on when he was a kid or something. But here is a Democrat, probably an illegal alien, posting a video out there in public calling on people to murder ICE agents by shooting them.
Agents on Shoot at ICE agents on sight. That's right. If ICE agents are trying to take you or a loved one, shoot them on sight. The way they're pulling up, with masks on, with unmarked vehicles, no badge, no nothing, it could be anybody. It could be gang members.
That could
you
be,
have
yeah.
every right to shoot at them.
Could be Trent
This would
Ragwa.
be the best self-defense case. You're just in fear for your life.
It's the best
you don't know
self-defense
who's behind
case.
that unmarked vehicle.
Good
who's
advice.
behind that mask. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
what
ridiculous.
is our country coming to?
When you say our country, what country are you referring to? Because you're turning this country into a third world beep hole. Because, as I have pointed out many times, wherever the left goes, they bring the third world with them. And today's Democratic Party, so-called, is the third world. And they are delivering the third world to the United States of America. They're not on our side. Now, that guy sounds like an illegal alien, doesn't he? And I was saying to Michael Piercy this morning, probably 6 years ago, he wouldn't have sounded like an illegal alien. But because Joe Biden and the Democrats opened up our borders for nearly half a decade and waved in maybe 12 million illegal alien gang members and child rapists, now everybody that sounds like that sounds like a filthy, rotten gang member, human trafficking, illegal alien, like Anthony Weiner type. So Anthony Weiner, he was on the internet with the underage girl doing all his winky stuff. That's amazing stuff. And that is your Democrat Party today, because they're not on our side. Speaking of which, the Rachel Morin was a mother of 5 living in Maryland, a big, happy family, living happily with her husband and her 5 children. Everybody loved each other. She went out for her exercise walk, a speed walk, joggy thing in the morning near her beautiful house in Maryland when an illegal alien criminal beat her, raped her, and murdered her. And the trial begins today. And now the family is dragged through this because of the Democrat Party and the things that they're fond of. And then I guess we'll spend millions of dollars putting the illegal alien criminal in prison for years and years and years to try to keep him from doing the same thing to anyone else. And all of this goes right to the front door of the Democratic Party in the United States of America, from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris on down, from Barack Obama, who told us years ago that we all better learn to speak Spanish. Remember that? And when he was elected, the rise of the oceans began to slow. Not that he's got an ego or anything like that, but emotions run high as Rachel Morin's family set to face man charged in her killing at trial. And that is happening today. In the year and a half since Rachel Morin was killed near a wooded trail in Bel Air, Maryland, her 5 children have marked many milestones. They've packed up their things from their mother's rented home. Some have switched schools. Some have lost teeth. The eldest became a mother herself. And through all the changes, the children, who range in age from 9 to 19, have been steeped in grief. Now they've got to go into court, you see, because, the kids are having a really rough time. And the father of Morin's oldest child said in frequent contact with the 4 younger siblings. The trial begins, and now they got to be dragged through the trial. Victor Martinez Hernandez, Morin's family, hopes that the trial of the man accused in her killing, whose name is Victor Martinez Hernandez, will bring at least some closure. Closure is a myth to this painful period. 2 of her children are expected to testify in the case. Now, Martinez Hernandez, 24 years old, was arrested in the summer at a bar in Tulsa, Oklahoma, after raping and murdering her in Maryland, not connected states. Now is charged in Hartford County Circuit Court. Hopefully there won't be any Obama appointees there. Charged with first and second-degree murder, first and second-degree rape, third-degree sex offense, and kidnapping. Jury selection is set for Tuesday, but they start arranging the chairs today. Prosecutors are seeking life in prison without the possibility of parole for Martinez Hernandez, who's been held without bail since he was extradited to Maryland last summer. Democrats usually let him out on $500 bond, and I think they put up the money themselves. Martinez Hernandez attorneys, assistant public defenders Marcus Jenkins, Sawyer Hicks, Tara LaCampia, and how many lawyers does he get? I got an idea, I was reading about something over the weekend. An anarchist that tried to assassinate Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and he missed Franklin Delano Roosevelt, but he did assassinate, shoot, and kill the mayor of Chicago at the time, Mayor Cermak, and he was arrested, and it was a matter of days later they put him to death. They gave him the death. It's like, hey, you're guilty as hell, and it's a speedy trial because, you got to, that's part of our code, too. Speedy trial. They gave him a speedy trial, and he was convicted, and within days, he had been executed in Old Sparky, the electric chair in Florida. It worked real good. It sure did. So, and the lawyers are like, well, there are many unanswered questions in the case. Yeah, we should turn you over to Tren de Aragua, you guys. So he's an illegal alien. He's a gang member, and the Democrats have done everything they can to protect the murderers because, they're not on our side. Boy, are they not on our side. As that trial begins, now the family has to be dragged through all of that. There are new polls out. CBS News very disappointed by their new polls because turns out the American people are overwhelmingly in favor of deporting illegal aliens because so damn many of them are wild-eyed criminals who are here to do horrible, terrible things. And the Democrats, I think, applaud that, right? Because keep in mind the problem is not our guns, which they want to strip away from us, but their sons. Stop raising criminals, then you won't have to worry about guns. How about that? But the people at CBS News with a big poll over the weekend, Trump administration's program to deport immigrants illegally in the U.S., 58% of us in the CBS News poll approve of President Trump's and the Trump administration's program to deport illegal immigrants. And you don't even have to add, oh, yeah, they're also serial killers and rapists and stuff. Just say they're in the country illegally. And the Democrats swung the doors open, rang the dinner bell, started giving away the store. And the American people, even a lot of dim-witted Democrats who are busy firebombing everything, man, oh, man, they about 58% to 42% who disapprove. And they should all be denied the right to vote, shouldn't they? The 42%, what, illegal aliens? No, keep them here. That's maybe they pulled these Obama judges or something that because they're in favor of more illegal alien criminals. They are some. Now, I made passing mention of this, but in New Mexico, speaking of Democrats, New Mexico Republican Party headquarters set on fire, graffitied, quote, ICE equals KKK. See, like the guy who posted the video that you should shoot ICE people, he's a Democrat, a perfectly mainstream. The Democrats might run him for Congress because they like the cut of his jib. But here's the firebombed Republican Party headquarters in the state of New Mexico. The headquarters of the Republican Party of New Mexico was set on fire on Sunday. They should have been at church, but they were firebombing political headquarters instead. And they spray painted ICE in all big capital letters, equals, the equals sign. You know, they love equality. KKK, which was created by the Democratic Party after their civil war against civilization. Spray painting ICE equals KKK on the building in what the Republican Party called a deliberate act of arson. Didn't have to go out on any limbs there, did you? Fire officials in Albuquerque, the largest city in Democrat-controlled New Mexico, were called to the blaze around 6 a.m. on Sunday morning, definitely not going to church. And they put out the fire, of course, because that's what they do. They're firefighters, the Democrat Party. They're fire starters. They're like a Stephen King movie at this point. I'm telling you. And we are at 888-630-9625. I'm telling you. Yeah, Robbie Starbuck on Twitter over the weekend got my attention with a good observation, a good quote that I want to share with you coming up.
Instead of worrying about whether immigrants can learn English, they'll learn English. You need to make sure your child can speak Spanish.
You know, the war between the states, the American Civil War, I have at least one friend who still calls it the War of Northern Aggression, still calls it the War of... Good Southerner, still calls it the War of Northern Aggression. I kind of admire it, actually. I'm a Yankee all the way myself. That Yankees baseball game they were completely crazy. Lost track of the number of home runs, grand slam home run, like 20 run crazy. But that's not important. Now let's go back to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Greg calling from Falls Church, Virginia. Gregory, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris. How are you doing this morning?
I'm wonderful, Greg. What do you know? What do you say?
I was just, I live here in Falls Church. I think I might be the only Republican in the entire part of Northern Virginia. It's really sad. But one of my closest friends, we've been friends for 12, 15 years. We had lunch on Sunday, and he showed up, and he was really, distant and seemed angry. And I said, "Are you upset about something?" And he's like, "I don't think we can be friends anymore." And I'm like, "Why? What's happened?" And he's like, "You voted for Trump, and because of him, my 401k is down $70,000." And I'm like, "So we can't be friends because I voted out of 70 million people who voted. I voted for Trump, so we can't be friends anymore." I said, "I guess we were never friends in the first place. When Joe Biden was president and he had dementia, I didn't end your friendship because you voted for that piece of crap." But anyway, so it's really sad. And all the listeners who are Democrats out there, if you drop your friends because they voted for Trump, then you weren't much of a friend in the first place.
Well, and this just happened yesterday, right, Greg?
Yes.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I can't tell you how many times I've heard this from people just in the last couple of months. How many times I've heard, a friend of 25 years, emailed me, texted me, we're no longer friends, and then, self-immolated already.